Jimmy and welcome to the 2021 Acura TLX. This is heavily anticipated. So let's put it onto sport mode, onto sport for the transmission, a little bit of brake torque. Let's go. Okay, it wakes up. It's kind of loud. That's not bad. Oh, that's actually kind of loud in here. That's a lot louder than I thought it would be. 0 to 60 comes in at low 6 seconds. Yes, it's a little faster than the previous generation TLX. Actually, let's quiet this down a little bit. Let's put it back onto normal mode here. Under the hood, there's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. Don't worry, this is just the base engine. There is a Type S coming soon. This 4-cylinder comes in at 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. So it's actually more than enough power. Downshifts are a little slow in normal mode anyways, but it accelerates pretty well. And in the corners, it feels fantastic thanks to super handling all-wheel drive. Here in Canada, super handling all-wheel drive comes standard, so it's great. Acura spent a lot of money tuning this chassis and it's completely new from the ground up. Nothing is used from the previous generation, and it definitely feels that way. Let's start with the outside first. The outside of the TLX is angular, it's angry. It follows some styling traits of the current generation RDX. It looks great. The low hood line on the front makes it look, well, very muscular. And from the front here, we can see that the front and the rear fenders are bulged out just to show off its wider stance. From the side, we got these 19-inch gray alloys and they look really the part. This is the A-spec model, so there are some differences than the base or the top elite trim. On the back end, I do like the TLX taillights, but in the concept, it just looks a little bit better because they're a little bit narrower. It looks wider than what this is, but it's not bad in any way. On the top of the deck lid, we do have a little trunk spoiler, and on the bottom, we have these squared out exhaust tips. Overall, from the outside, I think the TLX looks good. The side profile, it looks a little bit weird because the front of the vehicle looks a lot longer than before, comparing to more typical sedans like the Accord or the Sonata. But it's that way for a reason, because underneath, the front suspension is completely redesigned. It has, well, double A-arms. To be honest, most people won't care about that. But for those who like how vehicle handles and how vehicle feels, that's actually quite important. Let's take a look at the inside, starting with the trunk. Popping open a trunk and it reveals 13.5 cubic feet of space. It's definitely not the largest, but it'll do. It's a little bit smaller than the previous gen TLX, but it's still bigger than like the 3rd or the 4th generation. In terms of the back seat, it's livable. I have enough headroom and enough legroom here. I'm not super comfortable, but I think it's fine for what it is. It is, well, a compact sports sedan after all. If you're interested in seeing how child seats fit in the TLX, take a look up here. I have an in-depth video showing how a Klek Ling, an infant seat, as well as a Klek Fünf, a convertible, and just exactly how it fits inside. But the front seats, this is where you want to be. The seats are a mixture of leather and Alcantara. It's super comfortable. I don't have any problem with the seats other than the fact that, well, they don't have adjustable bolsters, which some other manufacturers give you. So, I mean, this is the A-spec. It's supposed to be sporty. So I just thought it naturally comes with it. But I guess, for whatever reason, it's not available here. Maybe the Type S would have it, but who knows. As for what's right in front, I got a lovely A-spec steering wheel. It shows A-spec right on the bottom here and looks great. The buttons, well, there's quite a bit of them, but they're still logically laid out. I don't mind that too much. Behind the steering wheel sits a very, very good cluster. It's part digital and part analog. Because this is the A-spec, there's silver backed gauges with red outline. It looks great, super sporty. The digital screen is very high resolution and shows me a lot of information. Don't have any problems with that. I am missing a heads-up display that is only available on the top trim though, but I think I'll get over it. The infotainment, it's a love-hate relationship with the infotainment. While in the Acura system, I actually don't mind it because the trackpad that you use to navigate around the infotainment itself, it's actually very intuitive. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. So if you put your finger on the top left, it'll be on the top left. Put it on the bottom right, it'll be on bottom right. It's very logical the way that it's laid out, and it works great. The only thing is when you use Apple CarPlay, for example, that goes out the window. It works like a traditional trackpad like the Lexus system. So you have to swipe between icons. And that's when it gets a little confusing. I guess if you only use CarPlay or if you only use the Acura side of the infotainment, it's not that bad. But if you're constantly switching between the two, it may get a little confusing. What I do like is, unlike the RDX, which had the volume button on the dash on the top, they moved it next to the trackpad. And there's also your track forward and reverse button. Love that. Great placement for that. And the exact same moves over to the MDX as well. I'm sure the RDX will get a refresh sooner or later. Overall, the interior is a great place to be. We got good materials throughout, although the top of the door here, this is, well, plastic. It's not leather. I wish it was, then it'll just be a little bit more upscale. But where you rest your hands and your arms, I don't have any complaints about that. But let's get back on the road because that's what the TLX is all about. The driving experience, that's really where this shines. I mean, the previous gen TLX wasn't bad, but this is great. The car rotates. It rotates under throttle. It's a front-wheel drive based all-wheel drive system, but it still rotates. And it just makes the driving experience that much better, that much more fun. Put it into sport mode, the revs, they stay up. Gives you the meat of that power curve. It's just a super enjoyable experience. It's been a while since I've driven the Lexus IS, but I don't recall it being as nimble as this. The Q50, it definitely doesn't drive as light as this is. I mean, it's not light, it's 4,000 pounds, or very close to it. But it doesn't feel it. The only place you feel the 4,000 pounds is, well, at the pumps, because it's not great there. But in the corner, this is where this TLX absolutely shines. A little bit of braking, go into the corner, just throttle. It pulls you right through. It's incredible what the engineers at Acura has done with this chassis and this all-wheel drive system. I used to own a Honda Accord, which on the base of it, it's actually very similar to the TL. And I had a TL before, a second gen. I loved it. It was a great car. The J Series V6 sounds amazing. Yes, this doesn't have the V6 sound, but I don't recall having this much fun in my old Accord or that TL. I would argue that this is a better car than any TLX before. I'll have to wait for the Type S to say if this is a true sport, compact, luxury car contender to like the M340, for example. But until then, this will definitely get me through the day. Turn in, and it's sharp. Even with winter tires, it's still so sharp. Wow. Guess that's really all I have to say about it. Let's pull over here and summarize everything up. The 2021 Acura TLX. Is it perfect? No car is ever perfect. This is designed for someone that likes a more agile vehicle. It's not as big as like an Accord per se. It's more expensive than that. It's actually a little bit slower than the Accord as well. But I think the compromises that you're making to have a better handling vehicle is worth it if that is something that you care about. In Canada, like I said, every single TLX comes with super handling all-wheel drive, and it starts at $44,605. As tested, this is $49,905, which means in the US, it's $46,250. At $50,000, I would think this is actually not a bad price. Yes, it's still a lot at 50 grand, but if you compare Q50, Lexus IS, well, you get actually amazing value for money here. You actually do. If you compare to the German rivals, you get even better value. It's only when you look at Cadillac, then Cadillac's better. But I think that's really all I gotta say about the TLX. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. I'm gonna keep driving because it deserves it. It truly does. I'll catch you next time. Take care.